following video contains images that some viewers may find upsetting. We deeply sympathize with the victims who lost their lives in the crash. Rest in peace.
It is accurate to say that plane travel is among the safest modes of transportation. However, when aviation accidents do happen, the results are often catastrophic. There are no such things as minor airplane collisions or crash landings. These occurrences are devastating, life-altering events. A passenger plane carrying 61 people crashed outside São Paulo on Friday afternoon, killing everyone on board, according to a statement issued by air company Vopas. Dramatic footage circulating on social media showed the plane's fall and its destroyed fuselage in flames on the ground. The company regrets to inform that all 61 people on board Flight 2283 died at the scene, Vopas said in a statement, revising the death toll down from initial assessments of 62 dead. There were 57 passengers and 4 crew were on board, according to Vopas. The flight left Cascavel in the Brazilian state of Paraná and was en route to Guarulhos in São Paulo state when it lost signal shortly before 1:30 p.m. local time, 12:30 p.m. ET, according to Flight Radar 24 data. It began losing altitude a minute and a half before crashing. The plane had been cruising at 17,000 feet until 1:21 p.m. local time, when it dropped approximately 250 feet in 10 seconds. It then climbed approximately 400 feet in about 8 seconds. 8 seconds later, it lost just under 2,000 feet. Then, in approximately 1 minute, it began rapidly descending, roughly 17,000 feet in just 1 minute. The last data transmission from the plane was at 1:22 p.m. local time. Authorities have found the black box at the crash site, São Paulo's Security Secretary Guilherme Derrite said at a press conference. A medical team is on site and working to identify the victims, many of whom are too badly burned for visual identification, he said. Teams have removed the first 3 bodies, and in order to help identify bodies, families have been asked to share medical documentation of the victims, such as radiological, medical, and/or dental exams. Vinhedo City Hall said in the Friday statement that they are waiting for the Brazil Air Force team to start investigating the cause of the crash. Who heads Brazil's aviation accidents agency, CNIPA, told a press conference that aircraft crew had not communicated an emergency prior to the crash. According to registration data from the Brazilian Aeronautical Registry, the Vopas Linhas, Aérea's flight was manufactured in 2010 and purchased by the airline in September 2022. The aircraft was denied operation for air taxi, according to its registration data. But it's unclear why or when that determination was made at this time. ATR, the plane's manufacturer, says it was aware of an accident and is working to support investigators. Aviation accident rates have gone down in recent years, but the growing popularity of private jet travel and helicopter flights may soon reverse that trend. In 2007, the National Transportation Safety Board estimated a total of nearly 24 million flight hours. Of these 24 million hours, 6.84 of every 100,000 flight hours yielded an airplane crash, and 1.19 of every 100,000 yielded a fatal crash. This is down from an all-time high of 9.08 accidents per 100,000 hours in 1994. These numbers are higher for private flights, but private flights are much harder to document due to lax government regulation and non-reporting. Private plane crashes have been on the decline since the 1980s, but user error and insufficient training still contributes to many more accidents than are necessary each year. Statistics show that up to 80% of all aviation accidents can be attributed to human error. The most dangerous times include takeoff and landing, and the time periods before and after these events. Pilot error is thought to account for 53% of aircraft accidents, with mechanical failure, 21%, and weather conditions, 11%, following behind. Even in the best training situations where flight crews undertake comprehensive simulator-based training, human beings tend to revert to previous habitual behaviors. Training helps, but it takes people time to develop muscle memory, which can result in catastrophic unintended consequences, particularly when flying a highly maneuverable aircraft. The NTSB database, which has records of every reportable accident since 2008, shows over 13,000 accidents, with at least one issue pertaining to personnel. All these accidents include over 20,000 findings related to personnel, with an average of 1.54 per accident. On the other hand, it's important to note that other factors are always in play when pilot error occurs. The aircraft, environmental issues, and organizational issues are a few examples. How safe is air travel? Compare it to other major forms of transportation. With 0.04 deaths per 100 million miles traveled, train travel is much more dangerous than airplanes' 0.01 deaths per 100 million miles. However, air travel is only as safe as the operator, the equipment, and the training procedures that underlie the flight itself. Without stringent aviation safety training and controls, air travel is unsafe for private and commercial passengers. 2024. Commercial airplane crashes. Up to date. January. The 2024 Haneda Airport runway collision involved Japan Airlines Flight 516, an Airbus A350 from Nuchito's airport, colliding with a Japan Coast Guard de Havilland Canada-8 aircraft during landing. Alaska Airlines Flight 1282, a Boeing 737 MAX 9 departing from Portland International Airport, experienced uncontrolled decompression when a plug covering an unused exit door blew out. Moxie. In the 2024 Nairobi mid-air collision, SafariLink Aviation Flight 53, a de Havilland Canada-8, collided with a Cessna 172. Latam Airlines Flight 800, a Boeing 787-9 traveling from Sydney to Auckland, experienced an in-flight upset that resulted in injuries to 50 passengers. During Singapore Airlines Flight 321 from London Heathrow to Singapore, carrying 229 people, the Boeing 777-300ER encountered severe turbulence, resulting in one passenger's death and injuring 30 others. July, Gazpromavia Flight 9608, a Sukhoi Superjet 100, was on a ferry flight from Lukovitsi to Moscow when it crashed during an emergency landing attempt near Moscow. Nearly half of all aviation crashes happen during landing or takeoff. One fact becomes clear after looking at historic aviation crash data and focusing on the phase of flight during which the crash took place. Landing and takeoff are the most complex phases of flight for any airplane. Nearly half of all the aviation crashes we analyzed covering the period 1983-2019 took place during either landing or takeoff procedures. These phases place a heavy load on airline crews and ground teams as well. The tough combination of constant airplane configuration changes, having to navigate the plane, communicating with air traffic control, and keeping an eye on ever-changing weather conditions increases the potential for unanticipated events, which sometimes leads to a crash. Furthermore, our team analyzed the types of flights involved in the most crashes and found that general aviation aircraft were involved in almost 78% of all crashes. General aviation aircraft include all civilian flights except for passenger or cargo transport that is scheduled by an airline company. One of the main reasons why general aviation planes are involved in so many crashes is that there are many more of them flying than scheduled commercial flights. However, if we look at the percentage of fatal accidents by the type of flight, we see that general aviation was involved in almost 45%, while non-US commercial and other flights share almost half of crashes that involved a fatality.
That's all the information that we have for you today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss out on future episodes. And be sure to also tell us what you think about today's content. Everyone's support motivates us to continue delivering quality content and to always improve. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.